Hello, I'm Jason Catalano, and I'm part of Team Nike over here with Sean, Lewis, Dan, and Alexi. Today I'm going to be talking about the industrial or industry perspective, so the big picture perspective with e-commerce. So think of e-commerce and then think of the golden eggs that it can produce. So first we're going to talk about objectives. The objectives I want to talk about is distribution channels as the main focus of the industry in terms of disruption right now. So just a little bit of background with the industry and with Nike. Nike's kind of known for being futuristic, number one. Number two, individual. Number three, being about performance. And in terms of the industry background, kind of Amazon.com right now is kind of the online retailers, the futuristic way to distribute, at least. When you look at kind of the performance angle, think of bodybuilding.com. They have all the resources, not just the actual products, but they actually have resources in terms of a community for people to go to. They actually have workouts for people to see. They have a lot of celebrity endorsements in terms of the workouts that they do. So in terms of performance, it's an all-in-one inclusive shop. And then lastly, it's about Facebook in terms of the individual with a profile, being able to kind of share it with the world who they are. I'm going to be talking about the golden goose fable from Aesop Fables in terms of how that relates to the industry and what's going on right now. We're going to talk about the golden eggs from that fable, which are going to be corporate social responsibility, women, and of course, direct to consumers, as Dan has already mentioned. We're then going to talk about the threats, though, about e-commerce and kind of some of the ways we can mitigate those, and then go on to recommendations. So first, in slide 3, distribution channels. Both those graphs, the one on the left is just Amazon.com, who also just got Zappos, kind of showing how e-commerce and athletic footwear are going together. Just showing that their net revenues are skyrocketing right now, and they're just going to keep going just because of really new technological advances with Androids as well as with computing anywhere on the go, tablets, and we're seeing kind of that traditional Walmart kind of going down, stagnant, up, stagnant, mostly stagnation as the brick and mortar type of retailing. So for the industry background, main competitors for Nike, of course, are Adidas, Under Armour, and Puma. We're going to talk about Porter's 5 forces as well as Nike's own kind of internal SWOT analysis. But once again, just kind of the main mission for Nike is that the inspiration, innovation for every athlete in the world. So when we think of e-commerce, we're thinking of the world. So in Porter's 5 forces on slide 5, we see 3 main areas that I want to talk about. Number 1 is going to be with buyer power. We're seeing a decrease currently in buyer power due to more women getting on the online shopping experience. This, of course, means more women in the athletic footwear and online gives less power for the individual buyer. It's going to be better for us in the athletic footwear industry. Number 2 is going to be new entrants. The main thing with new entrants is counterfeiting with Nike right now, counterfeit products, especially in terms of around the globe. We're going to see how corporate social responsibility, though, can kind of reduce a lot of the intense competition and a lot of this counterfeiting. And then we're also going to see on a global perspective in terms of new entrants, especially with counterfeiters, though. Counterfeiters are the main new entrant coming up right now in emerging markets. So for Nike, just kind of go a little bit over their SWOT analysis. Their e-commerce sales are currently trending up, and especially with if you look at Amazon, with the e-commerce, it's trending upwards, and we're going to continue seeing that. Especially on the SWOT analysis, one of the opportunities is in online retail shopping, especially with women, which we'll get to as a golden egg. We also have emerging markets, rural, direct-to-consumer, and then corporate social responsibility, which is going to kind of mitigate a lot of the threats in terms of intense competition between Adidas, Puma, Under Armour, as well as with the counterfeit products. So for this golden goose fable, in Aesop fables, the classic tale is a farmer wakes up one morning, goes to milk his cow, tend to the other farm animals, and a little shimmer kind of catches his eye as the morning sun comes up, and he sees his goose, and lo and behold, there's a golden egg. Of course, he goes, wow, this is amazing, golden egg. Who would have thought? So he grabs the golden egg, takes it back inside, tends to the cow again, starts milking the cow, thinking nothing of it. Continues on next day, boom, golden egg. Next day, golden egg. Next day, golden egg. Now this is where the story kind of turns for us. See, in our story, with the industry right now, we have a choice to make. And that is we can either continue milking the cow, tending to the other farm animals, continue to that distribution of the old way of retail milking the traditional cow, or we can protect our golden goose, our e-commerce goose, who's laying these golden eggs. Now, in the traditional story, you had to worry about competition with like foxes. You had to look at the environment, and of course you had to look at your own greed. But as we can see in terms of this story, it's mostly protecting the goose that we want to do at this phase. We're getting a lot of golden eggs, and there's going to be a lot of competition from a lot of other entities to try and ensure that those golden eggs disappear. So the first golden egg is corporate social responsibility, and the best way to put this is our own quote, our 6 impactful areas, how we really want the labor, environmental, and social areas, those 3 areas, for people to be aware of all the initiatives we're taking. In terms of labor, excessive overtime, it's pretty well known, especially on our website, that we have a target, we have performance analysis, and we have how much progress in terms of how far along in our metrics we're going, in terms of especially in emerging economies, how bad the excessive labor issues are going on. We're meeting our goals. Unfortunately, not a lot of people are aware of it, especially if they go into a retail store. But once again, e-commerce has a golden egg. We see that it's a lot easier to promote. It's a lot easier to get people to see that end that we are contributing back to them. Once again, Nike North with sustainability, showing really what we value sustainability as. Most people don't understand it. If they shop on e-commerce, it's a lot easier for us to promote that directly to a consumer, as well as with communities, a full spectrum of philanthropy that we've been doing. This golden egg from e-commerce allows us to directly reach the consumers. And if something does happen in terms of, as an industry, if we see another shift or another public outcry over anything, this is kind of a way for us to buffer from that, in terms of getting in people's minds that we're taking the initiative already to try and have the best environment possible. And so with the best environment, it also comes the second golden egg, and that's women. Once again, different environment. Traditionally in the industry, most shoes have been sold not directly made for women, but they've been men's shoes with a little bit of pink or purple, maybe a little bit smaller in size, and they've been slapped with the sticker woman's shoe. Well, recently in the industry, it's been looked at that this golden egg with women on e-commerce, as they go and flock more towards e-commerce for shopping, especially as millennials, that the 3 things that they're looking for are versatility, aesthetics, and comfort. And the reason why we're seeing this shift mostly with women going towards e-commerce has to do with social shopping and the idea of being able to see user reviews, the idea of being able to see what other people are saying about the different products, especially with the type of investments they're making in the industry. And once again, kind of like with bodybuilding.com, it's kind of that community feel with the shoe, because once again, versatility. more women, more millennials look at a athletic footwear shoe as something to not only go to yoga or go weightlift or go run, but also to do all the host of other activities during the day. And so they want that comfortable shoe that other people say is comfortable. They want to know that it can go different places and do different things. And then they want to be able to have those aesthetics that are specific to them, not to a male. And once again, as Dan alludes to with Nike ID, that is the application that we're able to use to get more women involved in e-commerce. So the third golden egg is this direct-to-consumer concept. So this is going to allow us to go directly into rural markets as well as directly into our emerging markets much better than retailing can. Although once again with women, we just opened up 3 new stores. E-commerce from an industry perspective, it's going to allow us to utilize that social media platform that Dan also was talking about into directly to where the consumers are. So what we're noticing is more millennials, 16 to 34 years of age, are driving that push in terms of sales. So sales percentages went from 2.8% to 7% in terms of overall total revenues for retailing. That's in everything. It's especially true in terms of athletic footwear, as currently we're in third at 21.3%. As we've also seen Adidas number one about 25%, as well as Under Armour about 25% direct to consumer. This is a big concern for us. One way we can mitigate that direct kind of brand loyalty is to go ahead and jump more full into e-commerce. Protect the goose. Protect the goose. Always think protect the goose. This is a big reason why we have to protect the goose and not keep milking the cow. If Under Armour and Adidas are able to somehow manipulate the goose or find a way to steal the eggs, we're not going to be able to be as prosperous as we could be in terms of disruption in an industry. So the major threats that we've identified really is going to be competition in terms of counterfeit products. Well, once again, going back to the last golden egg, the way you mitigate counterfeit products, you get out to the consumers directly, especially if you can get women involved, and if you can promote your brand of being corporately socially responsible, you're going to be able to utilize those golden eggs to kind of get money to protect the goose, right? We want to protect that goose because, once again, it mitigates the threats and a disruption in the industry with a lot of technology. You got to protect the goose. It's the way forward. It's not going to be the cow. It's not going to be the Walmart ideal. Once again, more millennials, more women. So for the environmental factors, it's mostly going to be technology in terms of the industry. We're seeing more 3G networks, tablets, things like that, that allow anybody, anywhere to purchase anything at any time or to review anything, anywhere, anytime. So we have to leverage that technology before really our main competitors do, as well as to protect against counterfeiting to get customers to have a lot more brand loyalty towards Nike. So for our recommendations, we're saying in terms of people internally, hire more infrastructure in terms of IT, transportation, quartermasters. That's going to allow you to actually have a good distribution channel directly to consumers instead of having to have a fixed location in terms of retail. We look at purpose. A big thing is promoting corporate social responsibility. The big thing with e-commerce is you can do a lot of promotions in terms of getting people aware of this corporate social responsibility initiatives that we've been starting and doing very well in. It's going to be a big key for brand loyalty if people know that we are doing everything in our part to really protect them, protect the environment. They're going to have a subconscious affiliation towards us. So externally for shareholders, it's basically going to be a disruption in the industry, and we can take advantage of it. So let's pump a little bit more financial interest into the goose of e-commerce. We'll see more golden eggs. For the media,